Alright guys, it's your friendly neighborhood Fun with AJ, and today I'm excited and thrilled for the fact that we have a package from Analog Motor Goods. They make all their parts in the USA, it's shown here. And what we got is a couple parts for the RS. One being a prototype part, which we'll unbox. Other parts I'll do in another video, but let's get to it. I'm gonna tell you guys, I, like many of you, was in the market for an LED tailtidy for my Thruxton RS. I found several options, one of which is a competitor, which I do use to this day. However, this I was on the fence about because of cost. This is probably the most expensive one on the market, but it's one of the few that is actually made for the RS. Some competitors, I'm not going to mention names, are made for the R, not the RS. Different screw and bolt pattern. Also, I've heard from many, and by many I mean at least 3 certified Triumph technicians, that this is the most premium of the bunch. So keep that in mind. The cost could be justified, and I think is. First thing, and they didn't just do this for me for any reason, but pretty cool sticker. Probably be putting this on my laptop. I like to rep every brand I put on all my bikes, so I like this. I like that they included that. Some brands don't. Alright, I'm going to open up some of this stuff. Okay, we're going to be doing in a different video right here. This is their pod signals by Denali. These should be plug and play. That's why I went with these over a different brand that I used on my Ducati. You can look through my videos. These are the Triumph kits. You get these for the front of the bike, and I'll do these in a completely different video. Okay, this looks like a bolt kit with tie downs, zip ties for the kit. Another sticker. This is an instruction manual. They actually print color instructions for you, unlike some products that make you, including Triumph OEM, that make you go online and do all this. This is great that they have a specific instruction manual breakdown. It's only 9 steps for this entire kit. I'll have to read this before I get into it. Very cool. They gave me a shop rag. Who's it by? And it's by them, which I love. I always can use shop rags, so thank you, Analog. So something that makes them unique here is it's fully wired. No splicing like my Ducati with the other kit I had to do. Fully wired, all protected, analog branding here on the wire wraps. I think they've got a little 3-to-1 splitter here, for actually 5-to-1, which is cool. And then this is heavy, which is a good thing. It means it's quality. I mean, the only negative of heavy is your bike is heavy, but it's probably not as heavy as the OE one. The other thing I'll mention, why this is a prototype, is this is the first kit they're selling with their new smoked LED tubing. They're not going to be selling the clear tubing anymore, so if there's any more kits, you better get them while they last. They're only going to be selling the smoked one because of, I believe, cost and their supplier not supplying them anymore. And I'm excited about this. No real flaws on this thing at all. Just a little dust from the box. I'm going to be careful with this because I don't want anything to break. The other thing I'll mention, packaged really, really well. So other than that back, all that's in the kit is these screws. So it tells me it should be pretty simple. There's also a little zip tie down, which is pretty cool. Right there with 3M, I'm assuming. So next step, I'm going to be taking the OEM tailtidy off of the RS, and we'll go step by step. But let me read the instructions first. So these are instructions. From what I can see, red means that it's RS model and newer. For the additional instructions, it will tell you. The only difference I can really see, different bolts, and instead of having that yellow rubber band, which you may have seen in other videos for the R, you're going to have a zip tie center mount you're going to have to put down, and put a small zip tie with a cable, and then a large zip tie on the ECU. That's the only difference. Alright, the first step here is going to be to take off the seat. If you don't know how to take off a Thruxton seat, R or RS, or any liquid-cooled model of Thruxton, key in the left side, turn, and then gently pull back and lift, like so. That is full RS seat off. Alright, next bit, it doesn't say this in the instructions, the bit that's needed, but you need to take off these Torx bolts holding the ECU down. It does say that, it doesn't say the bit size. T30, so you need a T30 Torx. Doing that, connecting it to a wrench, lefty loosey, righty tighty, so This was already finger tight, or from factory, which is interesting. So T30 Torx got these two ECU holder bolts off. This is unique to the RS. Okay, we're also supposed to unplug this tail assembly. This is supposed to be the most difficult part, I think. Get a little screwdriver. Like this, nice small flathead. Push that tab up in there, and then you get a wiggle. That's what I'm doing. Got it. It is a fiddly job getting that connector off. Here, there's a tab right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. Push that this way, away from the center of the wires. Hold it, and then you also gotta wiggle at the same time. I think two hands would be, or two sets of hands would be the way to do this. So now that this is loose, I think I can slide this, yep, gently. Everything I've seen has it hanging, so that's what I'll do. So I've got the ECU hanging on the side here. It's got wires, it should be fine. That's the holes for the ECU bracket on the RS specifically that go into this mount. Very different from the R, which holds just by a slipping. So 8mm, it says on the instructions for this. Two, one here, and they're a little hard to get to because of the rear tire, but once you get there, you're golden. We got the two bolts in the front removed. All right, what are we doing right now? We're removing the back last four 8mm sockets. And then I think this whole tail is gonna just slide off. It seems to say you should just be able to remove the rear fender assembly at this point, and there we go, it worked. Took a little wiggle. There we go, guys. That is the rear fender off. Look how heavy this is. So that's what you're left with before you get the rest of the bolts installed. Okay, we're moving on to step 5. Okay, the next thing we're doing is taking these longer 8 by 20mm bolts, putting some Loctite on them because I love Loctite and the blue Loctite. And the instructions do say Loctite should be added. It says we do these bolts, these outside ones, not the ones you just took off. Okay, so I'm taking these, they call them couplers, and I'm putting under the tail to these 4 bolts. I'm just screwing them in. So now you gotta use a 13mm open wrench and the same, I think this was 5mm Allen, and tighten these couplers to these bolts, these screws, like so. So you gotta hold the top tight. Those are good. There's no torque setting, so I think hand tight's appropriate here. So the next thing we're gonna do is install our new A3Tv2, which is the Tailtidy, to the bike, using these, I think, let me get the exact spec, M8 by 14 4 stubby screws, the shorter ones right there. So the recommendation here is to loosely start to put this up. These 4 bolts, I'm gonna pilot them initially. And let me take you guys down. I'll take you guys down after to show you those bolts I did and the couplers. So these are the couplers, the bolts, the shorty bolts that went in, 5mm. 4s are over here, 2 from underneath. Next up, we're gonna go back up. I added blue Loctite to each of these all the way around as instructions recommended, and as I do all over my channel, blue Loctite everywhere. Now I'm gonna put the RS specific instructions to use, so we'll be right back. So RS specific instructions, they are steps in the instruction manual. Step 8B, figure 6 and 8. It's on the back of the instruction manual. A zip tie holder, which they provide, with some 3M tape, I believe. Maybe it's not marketed as 3M, but okay, what it says is to put this essentially like here, and then zip tie that. So once you put this in, it says route the zip tie to hold the seat cable, and it has it this way, and then route the other zip tie to hold the ECU, I believe. So let's do it. Zip tie this guy down and secure. All right, so popping this here, like so. I want to do it super tight. And we need to also route this bigger zip tie without pinching. And it's supposed to go around this ECU harness here. Doing this, so it was pretty much like that on the image. And we're going to take these bolts that we took out originally from the RS specific, and it says you can route this wherever you feel the wires won't get damaged. I am tightening those bolts down with the Star Torx T30, Torx 30. And remember, these were finger tight, or not hand tight before. They're actually less than hand tight, and I hadn't touched it before. So up, so it can go in that latch, and click. Turn on key and make sure functionality works. That is step 9. And that's it. It says position the wire however you want. So let's try. I am expecting to have hyper flash the first time, because I gotta go into Triumph settings. So will you, if you don't want hyper flash. So here we go. We've got the license plate light, the new smoked LED, brake light works, left blinker works. I hear a little clicking, I think that's normal. It's hyper flash right now on both sides because I need to go into settings. Right blinker works. Okay, now I present to you guys the fully complete Analog Cycles Triumph Thruxton RS prototype smoke LED kit, the A3T. I think it's going to be the V3. Right now it's the V2. Analog, correct me if I'm wrong. And I just want to show you guys the lines real quick. Perfectly matches the seat cowl. I love it. And I'm going to do a comparison video with a competitor product soon. Side by side. It's probably going to be the only one on the YouTube with the competitor product against Analog. Not trying to say who's better. I'm just going to do a comparison so you guys can see and get opinions if you were in a position like I was. Alright guys, please be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, it's your friendly neighborhood Fun with AJ.